This meeting of the General Government Committee is being held virtually. This meeting is also being live streamed and may be viewed online at ajax.ca/live. Friendly reminder to all participants to please activate your microphone only when recognized by the chair. I'll now call this meeting to order. We'd like to begin this meeting by acknowledging that the land in which we gather is situated within the traditional and treaty territory of the Mississaugas. More specifically, the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation, signatories of the Gunshot Treaty of 1788 and the Williams Treaties of 1923. This land is and will continue to be home to the Indigenous peoples. Let us acknowledge the mistakes and traumas of the past through authenticity and support truth and reconciliation. Let us engage and celebrate Indigenous communities by being leaders of action in acknowledging the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's recommendations towards truth and reconciliation. Let us keep these principles close as we move. Let's keep these principles close as we continue towards truth and reconciliation and as we move forward with kindness and respect as a community. We'll now call this meeting to order. Any members of committee have any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, can I get a move for the adoption of minutes for regular meeting May 11, 2026? I see Councillor Bauer first. Thank you. Any questions, comments, concerns regarding the minutes? Seeing none, we'll start the vote. Okay, that passes. Committee, we have a few changes. I'm just going to walk you through it. Item 4.4 has been withdrawn. That's going to be presented to us at council on the 22nd of June. Also, we're going to move up a few items. We're going to move up item 6.1, the presentation, the financial statements and audit report. Right after that, we're going to move up item 4.12, the expropriation of lands and interest in land, Rosslyn Road, only because we have external partners online and we want to make sure we get them moving on with their day. So we're going to start with item 6.1, 2025 financial statements and audit report. We have Steve Stewart, partner, audit and assurance, Deloitte LLP. Mr. Stewart, are you there? One more time, Mr. Steve Stewart, yeah. Ms. Melbourne, please.
While Mr. Stewart is logging, I'm not sure if he's able to access the meeting or not, but I did want to say a few words. So Mr. Stewart is here to speak to the financial statements audits, and he is able to answer questions of council. And I hope he is able to log on.
Mr. Stewart, I do see that you're in the meeting. Could you use the button at the bottom of your screen that is a head with lines emanating from it to turn on your microphone? Mr. Stewart, I'm not sure if you can hear us. Through you, Mr. Chair, I would recommend at this time moving on to item 4.12 and coming back to this.
Looks like Mr. Stewart is here. Mr. Stewart, can you hear us? Mr. Stewart, if you are speaking right now, we can't hear you. You are connected to the meeting, so don't touch anything there. If you go to your left-hand side that says audios or settings, can you please make sure that the right microphone is connected? Okay, we seem to be having difficulties, which is not a problem. Mr. Stewart, we're going to come back to you. I'm going to go to the next item on the agenda first. Okay, that was exciting. All right, we're going to jump to item 4.12, CSD-2026-15, the expropriation of lands and interest in land, Rosslyn Road widening, phases 4 and 5. Director Cooper, did you want to set the table on this?
Oh, sure, I can certainly do that, Mr. Chair. Just say a few words. I think some of the council members may have questions, but Essentially, what's before you today is a report to advance the property acquisitions needed for the Rosslyn Road project. I guess what I'd like to emphasize as part of that report is we're really making every effort as we go along here to secure the property interests that we need for the project through negotiated agreements. So in a friendly and mutually satisfactory manner. So that's been going on for the last few months. We do have a couple of our team members on the call today, our negotiator, Paul Roberts, as well as our AJ Gajaria, who's our lawyer. So they've been working together with that goal in mind for the last little while. However, what you have before you today, just, in recognition that we're going into summer recess and an election followed by that, it's necessary for us to essentially commence the expropriation process to be treated essentially as like a backstop to ensure that the project timeline isn't significantly compromised by the property acquisitions. Of course, as you've seen in the report, it's our desire to off-ramp every single acquisition from that process if we can. We do think that friendly acquisition is in the best interest of all parties here, but there is a risk that one or more holdout properties could result in an expropriation process that could take up to a couple of years, and AJ can speak a little bit more to that if council wishes to hear about it. And so what's before you today is essentially just the steps necessary to mitigate against that risk. It's a very typical approach across the sector for projects of this size and complexity. And we're just happy to answer any questions that the council members might have.
Appreciate that. Thanks so much. We're going to start with the person who pulled the report, Councillor Henry. Why don't you start?
Thank you, Chair. So a lot of my questions have been answered actually within the last hour, I'd say, from staff, but I just want to make sure a few things that were mentioned here. If you give me 1 minute, bear with me because I'm reading off a screen here. So I want to make sure that, first of all, to clarify, for the purpose of public information, that on the south side of Rosslyn, we are looking at putting in a multi-purpose pathway. That is correct, not a sidewalk, correct? Can someone verify that?
I believe that's the case. That's more of a design question. I don't see Reneel on here, but Dave Meredith is on the call, so I'll just ask him to answer that.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
Mr. Meredith, please go ahead.
Yeah, no, through the chair to Councillor Henry, yes, that is correct.
Okay, because I know at one time it was a sidewalk. I think something has been changed. I just wanted to make sure. And then when we look at this project and we're talking about permanent easements putting on the property, I know there's been some discussions with the homeowners regarding that. I'm not going to go into all of that here because there's been some emails back and forth. Things have been explained to property owners within the last hour. So I'm going to kind of leave that alone. I just want to make sure that the stage we're at right now, aside from the property acquisitions, there's no foreseeable holdups aside from that. We're in a good place, right? Can someone verify that?
Again, through the chair to Councillor Henry, the report that we presented, I'm going to say about 2 months ago with respect to the timing for Rosslyn Road is still accurate. So we are still proceeding through the detailed design process, and the timelines that we laid out, which calls for mid-27 for the first phase, is still what we're working towards.
Okay, I dare to dive into this a little bit, but we do have things in place for the homeowners with regards to septic tanks and whatnot. We have some options for them that we're going to be offering, correct? That's coming up.
Yes, discussions, and I know Reneel is on the call if there's more detail that's provided, but staff have been working towards septic solutions for each of the affected properties, and that is something that is imminent. There's information as recently as this week and last week that that staff have been working on, so that contact with the residents will be taking place shortly. So we're in a pretty good position in terms of where we're at on that front.
And if you could just remind me again why it is that these property owners cannot be put on, removed off septic and put on Durham Region sewer? Why they can't be on water and sewer like the rest of us? You could remind me that the south side of Roslyn there. Near Lake Ridge?
The primary reason is between Audley and Lake Ridge. It's obviously within the green belt, and the extension of municipal services is not permitted.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to leave it there. I had a lot of questions that you folks answered behind the scenes, and I really appreciate you rushing to get me the answers within the last hour or so, and all the work done on Friday for that. So I think we're in a good place now to proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Henry. Could I get a mover for item 4.12? I see Mayor Collier. It's great. Any questions? Any more questions, comments, concerns from committee? Seeing none, we will start the vote on item 4.12. Just waiting for Councillor Tyler Moran. Second call, Councillor Tyler Moran. And third call, we'll stop the vote. Oh, got in at the nick of time, Councillor Tyler Moran. That's great. So that passes. We're going to try to go back to item 6.1. Mr. Steve Stewart, were you able to connect? Just hit the speak button on the bottom. You got you there. And can you hear us? If you can hear us, obviously you can because you selected to speak. We still cannot hear you is the issue. Okay, we're going to go on with the rest of the consent agenda, folks. Everything was pulled except for item 4.5, the OES 2026-15 refrigerated outdoor rinks. Can I get a mover for item 4.5, please? I see Councillor Bauer. Thank you. Any questions, comments, concerns on item 4.5? Seeing none, we'll start the vote. Okay, and that passes. Going back to the top of the agenda, we have PSA-2026-14, the video surveillance and privacy policy. This is moved by Councillor Bauer, followed by Councillor Henry. Councillor Bauer, do you want to select to speak? There you go. And Councillor Bauer.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chair Lee. Thank you, Ms. Williams, for the report. Very interesting information. And I just wanted to make a comment how Ms. Williams had come to a Ward 3 resident meeting a few months ago to talk about this kind of information, and it was very well received. Lots of good comments and questions. So thank you for that. So, yeah, I think so. So I had questions specifically about the Code Blue emergency phone units. I was hoping to get a little more information about them, specifically how many calls have been received. Let's start again. What year were they installed? And if I remember correctly, the funding for those units came from the province for security measures regarding when we approved cannabis stores in the town. Is that right?
Through the chair to Councillor Bauer, you are correct. That is the case. However, my monitoring and stats come from the period that Ms. Williams has been in the position. So I can give information back to June of 2025.
Okay, so you share how many calls since June 2025, and what I guess the most common call for help is.
So we have two units, just to explain it a little bit further. One is at Rotary Park Pavilion, and the other is here at Town Hall. The surveillance down at the Code Blue surveillance down at Rotary Park has received about 41 calls during the period of June 3rd to end of May 2026. And the same with the Memorial Pool. A number of those calls are accidental activation, about 70%, unfortunately. However, they have been used for emergency use, and in one case, it probably saved a woman's life by having the emergency services contacted immediately and brought down to Rotary Park. So it's about a 70.
I'm not sure what. Maybe I'll put mine on. Okay. Okay. Thank you for that information. And then what is the cost to maintain them? And then I see in the report there could be an additional unit installed at the MCC. What will be the costing for that?
Through the chair, the cost for the new equipment will be approximately $1,500. And so I would assume back when they were installed, they were roughly about the same price as well. To monitor on an annual basis, it's around $700 per unit to provide that monitoring service down the waterfront as well as here at Town Hall for the safety of the employees.
Thank you very much. We've received comments from residents about, are they being used? Are they useful? Why do we have them? And from other residents regarding the use of them, and Ms. Williams made this comment at the meeting. I'm glad that we have them, and that we don't get a lot of use of them, that people don't need to use them, but to know that they are there if someone is feeling unsafe for any reason, I think it's it's a great mechanism. So anyway, I just wanted a little more information on that. So thank you for that. Those were my questions, Chair.
Thank you. Next, we have Councillor Henry.
Thank you, Chair. My question relates to the 3 CCTV cameras installed in the parking lots around the Ajax Plaza to support community safety. And I believe I read somewhere else in the report there was other cameras installed in other parking areas facing the plaza for safety and security. Is that correct?
Through the chair, yes, we have a partnership with DRPS, and so there are cameras within the plaza area as well as cameras along Commercial Drive, north of Hunt and south of Hunt as well. And then we have a new camera that's been installed at Harwood and Achilles.
So the first set of cameras, it shows in the report, if I'm correct, were installed around 2019, the ones in the plaza. Are they front facing in the plaza, or is there some also around the back?
Through the chair, I'd have to ask my colleague, Ms. Williams, to come on and provide specific locations. I know we're going to try and not get into too much detail where they're located, but front facing, we can provide some.
I just want to know how many's in the front and how many's in the back, roughly.
Sure. So we installed 5 cameras along Commercial Avenue from Station to Hunt Street that are on the west side of the plaza facing the rear laneway along Commercial.
And how many were installed in 2019 in the report? The 3
so
that
none,
were originally installed?
So these are all, there was 8 cameras all installed in 2024.
In 2020, I thought the report said something was installed in 2019. Since 2019, the following.
Yes. So 2019 is when the Lobo assessment was done, which provided recommendations for the town.
And the actual cameras themselves, 2024.
Yes.
So, and I know we work with police. So I guess my question is, like, I myself travel along the back of that street of the plaza quite frequently to go to ACC. I know that I've received complaints from residents about what appeared to be increased drug use, and I've seen it for myself. If we have cameras there since 2024, why are we seeing increased drug trafficking if we're working with the police on this?
Through the chair to Councillor Henry, we have these cameras there in partnership for when they are doing their investigations, and they will contact us if they require that information. We are not proactively monitoring and surveilling the video unless requested through, for instance, DRPS, or through an incident that we may have to look into from staff requesting I think I have the data from last year. The police requested surveillance 29 times from the town from one of our cameras
For last year.
for last year.
So we don't go in, we don't look at it, we don't say, hey, we're seeing like a lot of drug activity in this area, we're seeing this, we're seeing that, and then call the police in. It's for the
No.
police to go do an investigation and come to us.
Correct.
Okay. And
Or an insurance claim, or if for instance, if we had an issue here around town hall, it's mostly by the direction or by request that our Miss Williams would go in and take a look at the footage that we have.
so what about when we're receiving, the complaints in and around that area from neighbors, not even neighbors, just residents in Ajax in general have increased over time with regards to the homelessness. And we've heard this. I'm not giving new information here. We heard it at the last meeting, public meeting, about increased homelessness in and around the area, the storefronts, how it's affecting businesses. We don't go in and look at that video footage and then go to the region and say, hey, we'd like to offer this footage to you, and say, hey, we're having an issue in this area, because we know that the homelessness file falls underneath the region, not us. So we're not going in and proactively looking at that and saying, hey, we're seeing it too, and what are you doing about this?
So through the chair to Councillor Henry, we've been able to go in based on requests from a business or from councillors about certain incidents, and we were able to go in and to confirm certain incidents that have occurred, and especially in our partnerships dealing with the police. But we wouldn't necessarily just hand over video for any reason. That's an important piece of this conversation, is that would have to go through a process, and that process often involves going through our FOI department in order to gain access to that information.
We wouldn't even share that with the region, with the department
No.
handling home. We wouldn't.
No,
No.
through the chair, unless there was a request and unless it was vetted. These are people's images, and that's not for that information should not be shared unless it's gone through our policy properly.
So even if we're not sharing it, are we not proactively for ourselves, because it's our property, like we own that property, are we not proactively looking at the footage and then contacting the region and saying, I'm not talking about this year, I'm talking about since the cameras have been installed over time, as we saw more and more escalation of events in the plaza, saying to the region, we are seeing this because we have footage, and we're seeing this, and we need next steps taken. Are we not doing that?
Through the chair, I think I've mentioned that if there's an incident, obviously we're working with DRPS, but if we need to confirm loitering or over a weekend, if there was an incident and it's come to our attention, we will go through that footage to ensure the details are accurate. But we are not proactively viewing video. We don't have the resources of the staff to do that. We have one individual managing all these cameras in all these locations. It's not something that we are proactively going through every minute of every camera footage we have. Now, if there's issues and they've been brought to our attention and they need to be reviewed, most definitely we would go in and look at the footage that we have. And anecdotally, the footage is like, we know we have the footage, but I mean, when it comes to our partners, they know that the issues that are occurring specifically in that area. And many of the business owners, and they've gone through our APF program a few years back, I don't know the exact date, but many of them applied to purchase cameras on their own for their own businesses through our support from the town as well.
Okay. My final question would be relationship to the cameras placed inside our facilities. And I could be wrong, but I don't ever remember walking into our facilities and seeing a sign saying that you were on whatever camera. Do we have signs inside our facilities showing that?
Yes, we do. On the outside of every one of our facilities, there's signage.
Oh, on the outside, but not when you're inside the facility.
No, the policy only requires it to be on the exterior piece as you walk in to notify you that there is surveillance occurring.
Got it. Okay. Thank you for the information. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Regent Councillor Crawford.
Thank you. Thank you for this report. With regards to the just the parking lot. My understanding is those cameras are strictly between the police and the town, correct? That was a partnership that we started.
Through the chair, yes. The cameras
Yeah.
within the parking lot in the rear of the plaza along commercial, yes. Partnership.
So even if there was damage to a vehicle or whatever, a police report would still have to be triggered first before you would offer any footage, correct? It's not like a customer or a business owner couldn't just come to us and say, I need footage. They would have to start with the police report. Then the police would have to ask for the footage, correct?
The police can ask and request for footage at any time with our memorandum of understanding with the police. In terms of
But for the okay, yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm interrupting.
So
Go
in
ahead.
that's okay. In terms of a patron, if there was an issue with their vehicle, we would typically ask them to be like that would be processed through our FOI department.
Okay, so they don't have to trigger a police report first?
Miss Williams, if you want to come on in with that detail, I'm not sure that they do, but Miss Williams, if they want to ask for footage.
Sure, through the chair to Councillor Crawford. So they could do one of two things. They could either file a police report through Durham Regional Police, who would then reach out to obtain video, or they could go through our internal insurance. Because
Okay.
the parking lot is town property, so they could also
Right.
seek, go through town insurance as well.
And if they were to do that, then the insurance then has access to the camera footage?
It could be requested internally through our insurance, through FOI, or they sometimes request that they do file a police report.
Okay.
It depends on the
So,
circumstance.
right. I only know because I've had a couple of people reach out to me. So we have 100, if I'm correct, 139 internal and 118 external cameras. Is that correct in total?
I believe that is what we have listed here in the report.
And who determines like where they go? Is that Robin? Or
Well, there's a few factors that we use. One was this security report that was done, the Lobo report that we
Right.
do mention at the outset. And then if there's any security risk or threats, or if there's any reviews done to see if there's any what we call like dead zones where we're not getting the coverage that we need for safety reasons. But yes, there's different multiple layers, and including now that we're going through a lot of our accommodation work that we're doing, we're able to review some of those situations and some of the scenarios and improve upon our capacity in the video surveillance area. And you'll notice
And-
that in that chart at the end of the
Yeah.
report, we talk about what the to be installation looks like and the numbers associated with that.
Because I'm sure that some of that accommodation review has changed sightlines too, right? It gets
Right.
opened up. Yeah.
100%.
Oh, I had another question. I can't think of it now. It was a good one too. Anyway, that's my age. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that good hypothetical question, Regent Councillor Crawford. I just have a very quick question. So our footage is kept 30 to 90 days. Is it fair to assume that there's physical and cloud storage for our footage?
Through the chair, yes.
And then anytime anybody accesses that footage, is there a log to say date, time, reason why that footage was pulled?
Through the chair, we just recently went through a whole review of an entire comprehensive review of our policy, and yes, that is included. So every time it's accessed, it does provide the information that you just presented.
Great. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you very much. Oh, sorry. Any other questions from committee? Seeing none, can I get a mover, please? I see Regent Councillor Crawford. Thank you. And we will start the vote. Yep. Still waiting for Mayor Collier. That's perfect. And that passes. All right, folks, third time's the charm. We are going to try to go back to presentation 6.1, 2025 financial statements and our report. Mr. Stewart, we're going to click you right now. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. It's all yours, sir.
Thank you. I apologize for that, but technology is not my thing. I'm going to be very brief. I just want to report to the committee on the results of the audit. We're engaged by the town to perform an audit on the financial statements. Management of the town is responsible for the preparation of those consolidated financial statements. Our job is to conduct the audit in accordance with Canadian auditing standards. We've now completed that work. All of our file is complete, subject to receipt of the signed management representation letter, which we will receive from management once the statements are approved. What I can tell you, just high level, the statements are prepared in accordance with public sector accounting standards. There were no changes to those standards from the previous year, and so your accounting policies are consistent. We do the audit in accordance with Canadian auditing standards. There were no changes to Canadian auditing standards, and so our audit approach was consistent with the previous year. The audit process we do approximately a week worth of work in the fall to do interim work, primarily control testing, and then we're in for a couple of weeks in the spring to do most of our work. I want to thank the finance team at the town for all their help. They make the audit go very smooth. They provide us with the responses to our questions on a timely basis. And to summarize, at the end of the day, we're comfortable that the financial statements present fairly the financial position of the town as at December 31st, 2025, and the results of your operations for the year that ended. And that's it.
Great. Thank you so much. We have a few questions. We will start with Regional Councillor Crawford.
Thank you. My questions is about receivables. Is it appropriate to ask the auditor, or do I go to Julie? Acting Director Memphis. Sorry. Okay, so I'm assuming it's you.
I can Julie.
Okay, so receivables. Receivables are taxes that are behind, correct?
The taxes receivable, yeah. So there's two separate lines on our financial statements. One is taxes receivable and one is accounts receivable. So
right.
They have
so
been separated.
Okay. So can you walk me through the plan or the process to collecting arrears?
Through the chair. So if you're speaking tax arrears, we have a process here at the town where we do try to collect and work with tax residents and businesses who are behind on their taxes for up to 3 years. Once that 3-year mark hits and we haven't received their payment in full, we will register the property for, we'll put a lien on the property. At that point, they have 1 year to pay their taxes in full. And if that doesn't happen, then we proceed with tax sale. So that's a process in summary. There are currently about 25 properties right now in that process. And that's our process. The 1 year mark hasn't hit yet. So there will be some that will come due in 2026 and some in 27.
I know we used to many years ago receive a report where you would get the process in like the total arrears report that basically showed where they were in the process of collection. We don't obviously go to a collection agency anymore or use bailiff or anything like that, or is that what a tax sale is?
Through the chair, we don't use bailiffs. The tax sale is something different. So we go straight to liens on the property after the time period has expired, and then we proceed with the tax sale.
So you said we roughly have 25 properties that is in that category. And still there's no way to separate whether residential, commercial, or industrial, like the tax class?
Through the chair to Regional Councillor Crawford, that was a question that was asked of us when the report came forward back in the spring. Since then, we've inquired of all our since then we've inquired of all our local Durham municipality, and nobody does that split. But we did some analysis on our end, and can confirm that the bulk of the arrears are in fact residential.
Okay, that's good. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions to Director of Finance or Mr. Stewart? I see Regional Councillor Crawford.
Sorry, I have one more question. So when we receive collection from arrears, it shows up in what category on the financial statement? If you can just, is it become just part of the overall money then? Or like there's no showing of that coming, well, obviously the tax receipt or the accounts receivable comes down and then the bank goes up. Is that basically how that is recorded?
Through the chair, that is correct.
That's it. That's the only, there's no other line on the thing that says, okay. All right. Just wanted to confirm that. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other members of committee, thank you, Mr. Stewart, and thank you, Ms. Metbem. All right, we are back to consent agenda. We're on item 4.2, FIN-2026-12, capital account closing report as of April 30th, 2026. This was pulled by Councillor Henry. Councillor Henry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So my question relates to Roslyn Road closing from Church to Westney. Now, I know that there's been some information behind the scenes, and we were waiting for holdbacks and minor deficiencies to do the report. Forgive me, is the report captured in 4.2? I'm not seeing it. Am I wrong?
Through the
Councillor Henry, this is the closing of the capital reports. I just want to make sure we're on the same item. Capital
Yes,
account
capital.
closing.
Yep, capital
Okay, very
account
good.
closing 4.2. Yep.
Just make
we're on
sure.
the same one.
Director of Finance.
Yep. Yep.
Through the chair to you, Councillor Henry. The project that you are referring to is not part of this capital closing report, as my understanding is that we just received one of the last invoices that needed to be processed against that account. And assuming everything is all good to go, you should be able to see that capital project closing in our next report update. But there were still some things to tidy up and loose ends to address prior to closing the capital project.
Yeah, I foreseen that might happen because I understood behind the scenes what the issues were and what we were waiting for. So can you just explain, like, kind of a little bit publicly why it is like we're doing the report now? It's not in there. It's been backlogged for quite some time. And why it is we won't see that until the end of the year, the next reporting session. There's not a chance to bring it forward prior to, correct?
I think Councillor Henry, if I may, just these are just accounts closings from the 1st of January to the 30th of April. So there'd be at least a 2-month delta from what you're talking about for the next report.
I'm aware. There's some emails behind. And staff are aware. So if I can just finish my questioning, staff are aware.
Sure.
I just need some clarification.
I just want to make sure you're kept on topic of the.
I am on
capital account
topic. It's very
closings
much on.
as
Very
of
much
April
on topic.
30th, 20. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. The director is aware of what I'm talking about. We're good.
So through the chair to Councillor Henry, the process is that a project does not proceed to the official closing until all invoices have been received, work is complete, designs are received. If in the case of construction or building construction and so on, the staff need to satisfy themselves that there is nothing left outstanding prior to closing the capital project and bringing this report to council with the recommendation of either funding being returned to reserves or additional funding requested to close the project.
Thank you. And if staff get ahead of themselves and they close it out and we still have holdbacks or deficiencies, then we end up being on the hook for it as the town, meaning the taxpayers could end up being on the hook for it. So that's why we have to make sure that these are dealt with prior to the closeout, correct?
Through the chair, yes, that is correct. And it is very difficult once a capital project is closed to have to reopen it and all that. So we wait until everything is 100% complete prior to recommending the closing.
Even if it takes a little bit of extra time, we do that due diligence just to make sure the taxpayer doesn't end up flipping the bill in the end.
Through the chair, it is sometimes funded through the tax bill. So, I mean, your question is really on the closing of these capital projects, but we do our due diligence to make sure there's no outstanding issues, and you are correct, so that nobody comes back to the town requesting additional funds.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that clarification publicly. Much appreciated. That's it. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Can I get a mover for the report, please? I see Councillor Bauer, excuse me. You all chimed in at the same time. Any last minute questions? Seeing none, we'll start the vote. I was the one holding up that time. That passes. We're on to item 4.3, FIN-2026-13, Town's Ethical Procurement and Investment Practices. That's Councillor Henry again.
Thank you, Chair. So thank you for the report. And there's a lot of information in the report, but I'm not sure it exactly captured what was looking for in the motion. So while the report explains the current legislation framework and procurement requirements, it does not appear to examine whether investment vehicles apply screens related to human rights violations, child labor, arms manufacturing, ICE, and such. And I'm just wondering why that wasn't captured in the report, if someone could speak to that.
Through the chair to Councillor Henry, the municipalities and the procurement and investment requirements are legislated through the Municipal Act and through the public procurement guidelines that we've identified in the report. You know, we operate under council approved bylaws and within a very tight legislative framework. The issues that were brought up, such as ICE and international issues, you know, while we make sure that all our vendors comply with Canadian laws and all the requirements, you know, municipalities do not have the ability to make decisions on, you know, powers that are external to what is permissible within, you know, the Municipal Act.
So there was no way through this motion to put any safeguards in place. There was nothing further that can be done. There's no bylaws that can be amended. Is that what you're saying?
Through the chair, I mean, what we've taken a look at, you know, other municipalities' best practices. I've even surveyed our peer municipalities. Nobody has anything in their documents, their policies, speaking to some of the issues that were brought forward in the motion. At this point, you know, we completely adhere to the requirements that govern our processes, and unless there is something specific that we can come back to you and report on, you know, I'm not going to guess what process needs some further investigation.
So to the clerk, if I wanted to make an amendment to the report, like if I left the report as is for now and accept it for information, and at council wanted to make an amendment, that opportunity would be there. Madam Clerk, is that correct?
Correct. Through you, Mr. Chair, you can pull the item at council and introduce an amendment at that time if needed.
Okay, so I'm going to leave it for now. I'd like to do a little bit more research on this. And I thank you. I'm understanding what you're saying, and I never doubted that we're not operating ethically within our boundaries, but I am looking for more, what could be done. And I'll do a little further research on that between now and the council meeting, and I might come back to you with something. So thank you. Thank you for the report.
Any other questions from committee? Seeing none, can I get a mover? I see Councillor Tyler Morin. Thank you. And we will start the vote. Mayor Collier, just waiting for one more. And that is everybody. Thank you. And that passes. We're on to item 4.4, which was dealt with or was pulled, excuse me. 4.5 was moved and voted on. We're on to item 4.6, OES-2026-12, RFT number DPC 26040, supply and delivery grounds maintenance equipment. This is pulled by Councillor Bauer. Councillor Bauer?
Thank you, Chair Lee. Yes, I had the same question for 4.6, 4.7, and 4.9. Thank you for the reports. And I just noticed on the capital detail sheets under each report, there were a few that requested the item and then it had pending new staff approval. And really, it's just an admin question. Just confirming that these staff positions have indeed been filled prior to this request.
Through the chair to Councillor Bauer, that is correct. You'll see some of them were in 2025, some in 2026. As was referenced from a timing standpoint, a lot of these are repurposed vehicles, so we've been able to sort of get by with what we've had without the replacements at this point in time. What we did was, as many of the repurposed vehicles were part of the regional co-op, right? So we weren't going off sort of on our own from a procurement standpoint. So a number of these vehicles relied on the timing and information from our partner municipalities. So that delayed the 2005 projects a little bit in 25, and based on the timing, it was advisable to package them to get better pricing in 25 and 26 and combine the tender, which is what we've done.
Okay, great. Thank you. I was just confirming the staff positions. And that was my only question for those 3 items, Chair Lee. Thank you.
Okay, let's be a little fancy then. Councillor Bauer, could I get you to move 4 point, let me get it again. Oh, I closed it. Okay, sorry, it's 4.6, 7, and 9. Correct? On 6, 7, or 9. Seeing none, we will call the vote. Oh, Council. No, okay, we will start the vote on items 6, 7, and 9. And that passes. 6, 7. So we are now on item 4.8, the OES-2026-16, the Rotary Park Pavilion feasibility study. That's moved by Councillor Henry. Councillor Henry.
Thank you. So just to understand this correctly, we're asking for nothing here. The staff is asking for nothing of us, but then to purely just accept that in the future, we're looking at doing something here at Rotary Park. Is that correct, Director?
Through the chair to Councillor Henry, that is correct. It is just an information report. Should the next term of council or a future term of council have an interest in pursuing this application and or this building improvement and identify it as a priority, the background work's been completed that we could then take it to the next step. But there's definitely no commitments made to the detailed design stage. There's nothing in the budget as it relates to advancing beyond the information report that's presented to you today.
Okay, and in this report, I focused in and looked at 2 things, which were washrooms and parking. So if we should pull this in the future, is there an increase to parking here? Because I noticed there was options where parking was kind of, looked like it could be moved around if I read it right. Is there increase to parking? Is there change in parking?
At this stage in the process, there is no change. This was specific to the facility itself. Should we advance to the next stage, we'd be looking at more of a consulting team that would look and do an assessment of parking based on the future programming needs or requirements. But that is not something.
He's good. He's
That's
totally
not something that,
What was it that you had to say?
Sorry,
Like going
Christy,
to-
your
Just
camera's
go
on. You're on. There we go. You might want to go off. There you go. All right, so we'll go back to that. So just for the record, I'm just putting this out there that parking there, you know, I don't need to say it, but I'm going to say it. Not the greatest. Could always use more. So I was a little concerned about any plan that would look at taking away parking from that area and accessibility to the building. I also focused in on washrooms. Did I see a change in the washroom layout in the plan?
through the chair, you would have seen a concept. There is a significant increase in size that is required, right? So all we've really done through the conceptual design is allocate the space for washrooms. I know there's future discussions that need to take place in terms of all the details around how they function and operating, and that's not the purpose of sort of the conceptual design phase. That would happen at detailed design. But yes, there is an expansion to both washroom facilities as well as accessibility improvements that are needed to the washroom facilities as well.
So conceptual design, page 179 of, I think it's the report or the acceleration, the report 179. I'm seeing the bathrooms and I'm seeing it's in blue and I'm seeing like a little divider wall down the middle. I just wanted clarification because I know I'll get a question on this after the fact. Are we looking at unisex washrooms there, one big washroom, or is that like, what does that look like?
So the actual concept does show one block, which would be for some change room facilities. And then there is one washroom that would be sort of the unisex concept. That's in terms of what's shown in the concept itself. That is really more based on to get fixture counts and understand sort of what costs would be. It doesn't have to take that form. It can still be male and female washrooms. And that's a decision that would be made down the road.
But currently, right now, it stands as unisex washrooms in this concept design, correct? I did read that right?
In this concept, that's what you see, yes.
I got to ask, because sometimes my binocular vision disorder plays around with me and I'm looking going, is that a line or not a line? And I want to make sure that I read that correctly. So when that time comes, we're going to have a chat about that because depending on, you know, I think there should be some public consultation around that. I'm just going to put that out there. I think there should be some good public consultation about what that looks like and make sure that our residents are on board with that.
Yes, we would agree, and we've incorporated the communication that there would need to be a full communication strategy sort of if this project's moved forward. So we would agree.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. That's my questions for that report. Thank you for your report.
Thank you. We have Mayor Collier.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to Mr. Meredith. Mr. Meredith, what do we pay for this?
Sorry, for
this concept plan. What do we pay for this concept plan for this feasibility study?
I would have to, I don't know what the actual dollar value was. It was a combined feasibility study for both Rotary Park and St. Andrews, right? So it wasn't just, I could get you the cost of it in terms of sort of what it was individually, but I don't have that number, which would have been approved, I think, in 2023.
Okay. What direction did we give to the consultant for this? Did we just give it to them and say, come back with some ideas? Do we not give them any direction?
We did. There's a couple of things that we looked at. Some of it was with respect to, and a lot of this at this point in time is through staff dialogue and discussion. So with recreation and culture, with building maintenance, with our internal teams in terms of what the future or potential future programming requirements are at Rotary Park and what some of the options are. It's just a feasibility study to basically show what's possible. So essentially, the key things that I can say is washroom expansion, accessibility, the introduction of a cafe slash bistro, looking at outdoor seating opportunities overlooking Lake Ontario, and then some of the, I guess, ancillary, whether it's, we've talked about tourism, we talked about sport rentals, canoes, kayaks, what have you, that as options or opportunities. But that's all this does. As mentioned, we haven't done any public consultation. This is an internal feasibility study that aligns with council's strategic plan. So that is an item that
I have to disagree with you on that. I don't think this aligns, in my opinion, with council's strategic plan at all. I think whoever designed this is completely out of touch with the realities that we are facing here as a council. A $16 million silver certified, LEED certified building that really moves things around slightly and gives us a little bit bigger bathroom, but in reality, nothing more that we already have, is, in my opinion, a massive waste of money. I'm very frustrated when I read this report because, like, I could have drawn this on a napkin. A bistro. That's not what I had in mind for this area at all. And, you know, a 16, like, as soon as I read LEED certified silver building, like, honestly, completely out of touch with reality, whoever this consultant is, to think that people have the money for a plaque on the wall like that anymore in this day and age. We've spent, and I gotta think it's a couple $100,000 to put something like this together. I've seen enough of them on something that's basically probably never going to be built. If I was still gonna be here, I certainly would not approve it in the budget. I'm very disappointed in this. I think probably we should have gone to public consultation first and given this consultant some very, very clear direction so we had something that I would think could be usable. Anyway, I know it's not, I'm pointing fingers at you because you're the one on the screen, but honestly, this is not at all what I envisioned when we went down this road. I'm actually pretty disappointed with it. And I can't see it ever making to the budget process. What would be the next steps? I mean, you talked about public, it's $16 million to re-rent some rooms and make a washroom bigger, but we don't really have anything more than we already have. What would be the next steps here?
First of all, a couple of things. In 2024 dollars, I think it was $10 million, and there was an escalation of $2 million to bring it to $12 million if it was built in 2028. The reference to the 16 in the LEED certification is if we receive direction to go with a sustainable option. So again, it was to present both options for council's consideration. So that's what the two numbers are, but in sort of current day dollars, you're in around $10 million. Notwithstanding that, it's a lot of money. And so where we're at right now is, I don't see staff beyond this report until there's a discussion during the next term of council to determine whether this is a priority project or not, to incorporate in a future budget during the next term of council. But there is no plans beyond this point right now.
Okay, I'm just actually looking at that chart on page 17 of the report, of the consultant's report. And, you know, okay, correct. It was $13 million in 2024 dollars, but we're in 2026.
Yep.
So I don't see that really as relevant, knowing that it would take at least a year or 2 years to go through site plan and get a shovel in the ground. I'm going to use the 16 million 2028 number, but yeah, this is, anyway, I'll leave it there. It's kind of disappointing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Collier, for that reserved assessment. Regional Councillor Dyes. Sorry, Regional Councillor Dyes, we can't hear you. We're sending over text support. Just give us a quick second. dropped off. We're going to give her another chance to come back on. Unless Mayor Collier wants to give us further opinions on the Rotary Park Pavilion. How about this is probably cleaner this way. Why don't we call for a 3-minute recess? I know it's early in the meeting, but oh, okay, no, never mind. It looks like she doesn't have the question. We're going to keep going. We'll close off and then we'll do a quick recess at the presentation. So, can I get a mover for OES 2026-16, please? Mover to receive for information. I see Councillor Bauer. Thank you so much. Any further questions, comments, concerns from council? Seeing none, we will start the vote. And that passes. We are now on to, sorry, I have it right here. That was 4.8. Yes, item 4.10, the soccer resources. Sorry, let me pull the exact wording. 4.10 is OES-2026-17, review of town soccer resources. This was pulled by myself. Thank you, staff, for the kind of answers to all the questions the motion had last month. Just some further questions. So we had a cost of, I think, like $38,000 if we were to put netting on all our soccer nets. And I agree, that's a pretty expensive cost, or $20,000, excuse me. What happens if we put some netting on our most popular soccer fields? Do you know what I'm saying? So I guess, like, I understand not putting it on all of them, but there's certain ones like Nottingham Park in Ward 2 as an example. Is there an opportunity or to just put soccer nets on very specific parks and just see how much that would cost?
Through to the chair. I think within the report we've identified the netting's about $350 per net, right? So that would be 2 nets per field. So you're about $700 per field. So if you're talking, say, 10 of the 52, that would be about $7,000.
Fair enough. So even at that point, it becomes pretty prohibitively expensive, not including all the liability issues, correct?
Well, I think from my standpoint, it is a bit of a level of service change, and typically it might be better to feed these through an operating budget process so that, you know, we can budget for, we can allocate resources, we can, you know, put a bit of a level of service delivery program as it relates to inspection, maintenance, all those types of things that would go along with it. So I think from a staff perspective, it would be probably best to consider it through that process.
No, understood. My next question, I think, is for actually Director Avita. Do we have any Ajax drop-in soccer programs? So, you know, to use our artificial turf fields right now, it costs $140 as an hourly rate. Like, do we have any sort of drop-in programs where someone can pay like $20, pay for an hour and a half type thing? Or is that something we've never really looked into?
Through the chair to the chair, we don't do drop-in soccer traditionally, nor can I say that's been a high feedback piece for us in recreation. We do some Friday night fun centers and different activities like that are drop-in that do incorporate a variety of different sport activities, and we do have some registered programs, but nothing specific in terms of drop-in. But that's certainly something we can take back with staff and have some discussion on.
The reason this whole started was I was getting a lot of feedback from different residents regarding soccer and soccer drop-in programs and soccer use of nets. So it did occur to us that we don't really have, like, to your point, a drop-in program, that maybe it is something where it's revenue neutral, where we get the exact cost back from participants, or maybe even make a bit of money. But I know these fields aren't always constantly being used, and if there's a chance to kind of use them to the best of their usefulness, I figured that's just maybe something worth looking into. But maybe that's something you and I can take offline, so I appreciate that. Any other questions from council? Seeing none, can I get a mover, please? I see Councilor Tyler Moran, thank you. questions, comments, concerns, and we'll start the vote. Mayor Collier on the soccer field review to receive. Thank you. And that passes. Thank you. Okay, we have one more item before presentations. Item 4.11 OES-2026-11 project update, the Hardwood Avenue widening from Taunton to Woodcock Avenue. This is pulled by Councillor Henry.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to staff, I wanted to talk a little bit more about this because it came to my attention last week that we're going to be putting a medium in down the road, and it's going to be preventing some left turns going into the mosque, into the Montessori school, into the church. And there were some conversations mentioned at the open house with regards to how traffic will flow. So I do have a concern with what this will look like if we're redirecting traffic onto Woodcock or neighboring streets, and particularly onto Woodcock, because right now I'm already receiving complaints about the speeding on that street. And if we're going to be pushing more traffic onto that street, what's the plan here, the backup follow-through plan for speed mitigation? Are we throwing some speed bumps on there? What has staff looked at? Could someone address that, please?
Who wants to take a crack at this? Director Meredith.
Really, with respect to, I can answer questions with respect to the design aspects, but with respect to traffic calming or what's going to happen along Woodcock, I'm not sure if Mr. Pandya is on the line and might be able to better provide some reply to that.
Well, we got a Director Romanowski
Romanowski as well, yeah. But Director Meredith, why don't you answer the first part, then we'll jump to Director Romanowski.
Well, with respect to the design itself, we're at about the 60% design stage, which really implements the EA, which was filed with the Ministry of the Environment in 2024. There were PICs held in 2001 and 2022. So during the subsequent 2 years, there were a number of things. There was a more detailed noise assessment that had to be completed, which was done in 23. There was Indigenous consultation, which needed to take place. There was some staffing turnover in terms of the project manager leaving and recruiting for that position. So there were a number of things that led to sort of that fall 2024, 22 to 2024 timeframe. Once the 30-day review period had lapsed at the ministry, the town initiated the procurement process for the detailed design in the fall of 24, and it was subsequently awarded in April 25. So for roughly the past year, we've been working on detailed design that speaks to some of the components in the project, where we're at from a timing standpoint, some of the issues with respect to utility coordination and stormwater management. But I just wanted to sort of acknowledge that early on in the original PIC, the consultant was asked to look at sort of all movements sort of in and around the mosque area. It was reviewed by the consultant. It did receive its due diligence, but the preferred for safety, for sightline reasons, when you've got signals at Williamson and at Grandview, it was not deemed to be safe or functional in terms of providing all movement access into the mosque area. So from our standpoint, we're advancing the detailed design, which is what the PIC was sort of earlier in the week, and the focus of this meeting is really to provide a bit of an update with respect to timing over the next year in terms of the sequence of events.
And sorry, did you say originally it was in 2001 or 2021?
2021 and 2022. There were two PICs.
2021, 2022. So, like we've got the mosque alone, I get it, it's one property. However, it's one property that houses hundreds of vehicles, in particular Friday for prayers. And we're trying to keep all the vehicles on the Moss property because this is one of the most popular mosques in all of Ajax, and we've got spillage of parking onto neighboring streets, which we're trying to deal with and mitigate. And now we're looking at limiting left turns. And I'm wondering how we're going to get hundreds of vehicles into that mosque area without folks going up and making illegal U-turns at the Grandview intersection, which is dangerous. And we don't want to see folks going into Grandview, coming back out, and then going north on Hartwood. So the problem that I see is that the spillage of that could lead to right turns on Woodcock, down Woodcock, loop back around, legal turns there. And I know Director Romanowski is going to answer that portion of it about the potential for road calming, but I'm wondering how this intersection is any different from south of Roslyn, where the Longo's Plaza is, where we allow left turns into Longo's and left turns coming north on Harwood into IDA. How it's 4 lanes of traffic there. How is it any different or any more dangerous? Where we would only be having lefts going one way into the mosque, into the church, and into the Montessori school. We have double lefts south of Roslyn, where, by the way, a child was just hit recently. So
sorry, Councillor Henry, I'm just gonna, Mayor Collier, do you have a point of order? You're raising your hand. Oh, sorry, I just let you speak. Go ahead.
Yeah, point of order, Chair. This is not on the design. This is about the addition of stormwater management.
But the design is part of it. The design was part of the public.
No, Councillor Henry, you're talking about traffic movement for something that's going to be handled through site plan process. No, this is about the stormwater and the addition of the $2.5 million stormwater management, not the design of Harwood Avenue. That's my point of order, Chair.
Yeah, so it's the capital count detailed design. Councillor Henry,
was it not in the public information session that's tied into this? I went to it this week. I saw the big map on the table.
Again, the report goes into detailed design completion, the reconstruction, and then the additional stormwater scope identified. Listen, I will give you a bit of latitude, but I need you to wrap up instead of just, your question is, how are we allowing a left turn into the plaza? Right, I'll let you finish that question.
Yes, south of. When left turns into the plaza south of, when we're not going to allow it north of. I think it's a fair question. And my residents,
it's not. Right? Listen, if it would have been relevant in an earlier conversation, but again, we have to keep to the agenda, and the item on the agenda is again regarding stormwater management. But I will give you that latitude. So if Director Meredith wants to answer that last piece. Why would one be allowed but not the other? Sorry, you want to select to speak? There you go.
Yeah, I don't, in all honesty, have much context and background information on the access to the plaza south of Roslyn Road. I do see Russell is on the line. Russell, I don't know if you've got anything to add, Russell and Renil.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Through the chair to Councillor Henry. So the Harwood Avenue south of Roslyn is a straight section. So in comparison to the section closer to the mosque property where they have the road curvature, the section south of Roslyn does not have the same sideline issue, provided that the road there is on a straight section.
And is that the only difference? Because for the residents,
so Councillor Henry, I'm so sorry. I just wanted to get you that answer because you did ask the question. But to Mayor Collier's point, this is specifically about the stormwater addition. So if you want to keep your questions to that.
Yeah, I can move on to the next question. That's fine.
Okay.
I can move on to the
connected?
next question. Yep, of course. So why is it then that the root stormwater, this foreseeable bump in the road for the timeline wasn't discovered prior to? Because we're supposed to be moving in to the widening of Roslyn Road, but it seems like a little bit of a bump in the road. What happened there? Can you explain that to the residents?
Sure. Through the chair to Councillor Henry, and if Russell or Mr. Fernando want to add any information. But when the EA was approved and when the detailed design was awarded, it was contemplated that there would be a super pipe within the right-of-way to convey stormwater for the widening south. So that would be a pipe that would be built within the boulevard. Through the detailed design, there are significant utilities, most notably, I believe, Enbridge, that does not allow for the construction of a super pipe within the right-of-way itself. The consultant looked at options. The Root Crescent option was the option that was best preferred in terms of how we would deal with the additional volumes as a result of the detailed design. So that is sort of the basis of it. Originally, I would have contemplated a different stormwater management scenario. Russell or Renil, if you want anything to add or not.
Yeah, that's accurate, Dave.
Okay, so Chair Lee, are you there?
Always.
Excellent. So when I'm looking at this report, it says project update, Harwood Avenue widening from Taunton to Woodcock Avenue. That's the subject of the report. So within the subject of
That
the
is
report,
the title of the report.
the title of the report. So within it, it does talk about the widening of Harwood Road. So I should be able to ask questions in regard and relation to the left turn lane. And furthermore, I should be able to ask questions for the residents of the area with regards to traffic going into other directions. Because if I don't ask them here and now, residents are just going to ask them after. So I'd like to know if there's
Again,
a
they are
plan
free
in
to ask.
place.
Okay, Councilor Henry, I get where you're coming from. The title of the report would seem to indicate that yes, everything is on the table, but that's not the case. They're specifically talking the additional stormwater management scope that's identified within this widening. That is what this report, this piece of the report, is all about. Again, you are happy
But
to
it
take
talks
this
to
offline.
cost. It talks to a consultation of Harwood Avenue widening is now scheduled to commence in 2027. Staff update the associated construction project based on.
Right, but that doesn't necessarily
It
mean
talks
that
a
every
lot
single
about it.
thing. Okay, but the financial implications, everything's about the stormwater management pond. I'm not trying to be difficult. Again, I'm trying. Again, a point of order was brought up. I agree with it. We are delving off from the stormwater management pond. You've asked your questions about the stormwater management pond. Absolutely, fair game. I'm just saying any other questions specifically regarding the widening or any concerns about that should be brought up to staff directly, and then feel free to communicate your answers to the public afterwards. It's just not regarding this issue in this meeting.
So nothing about the traffic rerouting, correct? There's
again,
no answers
so-
for that?
Listen, you are, this has been done once before. You are welcome to challenge the ruling of the chair. That is absolutely within your purview. And then it can come to a council decision to vote on that.
Yeah, I'm going to challenge it.
So for the second time in history, to the same chair, there has been a decision, council challenging the decision of the chair. On the challenging, looking at the clerk, is there a debate on that?
Yes, so through you, Mr. Chair, the Counseling Committee shall hear the reason for the appeal from the appellant. So Councillor Henry will provide you with an opportunity to provide your reason and the reason of the decision from the chair, and then we shall decide on the question without debate. So no further debate after both of you have an opportunity to speak further, and the decision of committee is final.
Sure, no problem. I mean, I'm not going to add anything. I think I was pretty clear on the reasoning of mine. Councillor Henry, did you want anything further?
Yes, I'd like to say that considering that this agenda point is relevant to the public meeting, where there was a large map put out on the table that clearly visually showed Harwood widening project, and where a lot of these questions came from that public meeting, from residents, from property owners, from the mosque itself. I think it's fair when the report itself does talk to about accessibility improvement. It speaks to the widening itself. I think it's fair to ask these questions now openly in a public forum. I don't think it's far off the scope of the report at all, considering it's related to the public meeting. And those questions were asked. I think that's
clerk,
fair.
At this time, we'll ask for a decision of council. We'll put it up on your screen.
There's no debate. Mayor Collier, I think you've. Okay, Mayor Collier has
There's no
point
debate.
of order. Hand raised.
There's no
have
debate.
Point of order. Councillor Henry, please let me moderate the meeting. Councillor or Mayor
Yeah.
Collier has a point of
I
order.
think you've taken enough time. I just want to ask, Chair, is it a yes to uphold your decision?
Right. So a vote in the affirmative.
Or is a yes
upholds my decision.
to uphold
I understand.
the challenge?
So a vote in the affirmative, a yes would reaffirm the chair's decision. A no
Thank you.
would take Councillor Henry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Tyler Moran, do you have a point of order? No. Okay. So you can't. This is non-debatable. So I'll ask the clerk to start the vote then. Oh wait, Councillor Tyler Moran does have a point of order. One moment, please. You can't have a point of order on the point of order. Okay, Councillor Moran, sorry. There's no debate. We can speak after this. Sorry, back to the vote. The vote is open. Thank you. Councillor Tyler Moran, we're just waiting for your vote. Okay. Okay, the ruling stands. Back to Councillor Henry, who still has the floor. Do you have any questions regarding the stormwater on the widening?
Nope, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll get a mover for, sorry, Regent Councillor Crawford, do you have a question on the widening or the stormwater on the widening?
Stormwater pond. How on earth did we miss a pond in an EA study?
Does Director Meredith want to take that or?
Through the chair to Regional Councillor Crawford, through the EA, they did address stormwater management through the incorporation of a super pipe along the boulevard of Harwood Avenue itself. It's not until you get into detailed design, you start to have all the details with the utilities and you look at land requirements and you understand turning lanes, but you're at the detailed design stage and it's significant infrastructure that it's not possible to put that super pipe. So that's when it was deemed to look at an alternative option, and the Root Crescent pond retrofit was highly recommended. So, and that's really the purpose of the report, was just to change that scope of work and how that impacts the overall timelines. So we would look to finalize the tender documents, issue the bid documents probably in the September timeframe for the Root Crescent retrofit, which needs to happen before the construction of the road can take place, which is why we're into mid next year for the road construction. So that's sort of the sequence of events. And that's what this report was intended to provide.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, just having some tech issues. Great. Any other questions for Director Meredith on the report? Seeing none, can I get a mover, please? I see Councillor Bauer, and we'll start the vote. And that passes. That's 4.11. We did 4.12. All right, folks, we're going to call a 5-minute recess to 2:30. Get the presenters a chance to line up their presentations. We have 2, and then close session. Back at 2:30. Thank you. And we are back. Thank you, everyone, for coming back from the recess. At last we left off, we had just voted on the consent agenda. We're on presentations. We had already done 6.1. We're on to item 6.2, RCS 2026-04, the active living update. Director Vita, I'll let you set the table.
Thanks very much. I'm going to just turn it over to our active living supervisor, Kevin Smith. Kevin is going to be providing an update on some of the successes that we've had in our various fitness areas and across our active living section over the past couple of years.
Mr. Smith, when you're ready.
Yeah, hi. Sorry. I'm good afternoon, Councillor Lee. I'm Charlie. Sorry, I'm just trying to share my screen. Just give me a moment. Sorry. I was all logged on, ready to go. Thank you for your patience.
Okay, we see it, and you're all good to go.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Chair, Mayor, members of Council, and staff. It's a pleasure to share an update on active living, the programs, partnerships, and people that are helping our residents move more and lead healthier lives every day. From our fitness centers and group classes to free community events, active living is one visible way the town shows up in residents' daily routines, and I'm very excited to walk you through where we are today. So my apologies, I had a chair that my slides from the share are delayed a little bit, but I'll continue on with my wording. Our active living
you keep going. When it catches up, it'll catch up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. We did a test run earlier, and it was kind of back and forth a little bit. So, our active living team sits within recreation programs and active living, with an active living supervisor, dedicated coordinators for group fitness and the health and fitness centers, fitness and health centers that oversee day-to-day operations of their respective areas. Supported by admin, like squash convener, 3 full-time fitness consultants, and over 50 part-time instructors and consultants. This structure, strengthened by the new full-time positions added in November 2024, allows us to deliver consistent, high-quality programming across all our centers. I'm pleased to share that active living membership revenue continues to grow strongly. Overall revenue reached $956,000 in 2025, up 12% over 2024, and up 30% since 2023, with the fitness and health center, combo, and group fitness memberships leading the way. The shift to flexible 1-month memberships in January 2024 has added a boost to overall sales, while maintaining an increase of 15% in annual membership terms in 2025. Up to May 31st, 2026, we're tracking modestly above 2025 numbers for the same period. These results reflect strong community demand for our programs and the value residents are finding in our centers. Along with revenue increases, fitness and health center participation has grown 55% from 2023 to 2025 across our 3 locations. McLean continues to be our busiest site, accounting for 56% of total usage thanks to its larger footprint and equipment capacity. Ajax and Core Performance Zone at ARC make up the remaining 44%. In both these locations, I've seen considerable usage, with Ajax up 70% and Core Performance Zone up 52% over the same period. These results show that residents are engaging with our fitness centers at every location, and we will continue to provide the best fitness services and staffing to welcome this demand. Group fitness participation drop-in programs, which include Aquafit, Step, Yoga Pilates, and Zumba, plus many more. Participation grew from approximately 59,000 in 2024 to 65,000 in 2025, a 10% increase. Residents are choosing our classes in greater numbers across every season, with strong spring and fall peaks complemented by our register programs. We'll continue to focus on smoothing seasonal dips and expanding access so even more residents can benefit from healthy community building opportunities. So I'm just one slide behind leggings, my apologies. Adding more context to membership revenues, membership grew across nearly every category in 2025. The Fitness and Health Center remains our anchor product, climbing 22% and accounts for about 40% of our memberships. And although a modest reflection here on the graph that'll be coming up soon, family memberships were up 44%, reflecting a strong interest for flexible, household-friendly options. Combo memberships, which include all membership services, rose 25%, while swim moved up by 10%, and group fitness had a slight increase. Unfortunately, squash saw a modest decline, possibly in line with a broader shift to pickleball, and we're actively recruiting a squash convener to provide additional support to squash programming. Overall, the mix of membership options are responding well to residents' needs. This slide that will be coming up again, community impact. This slide highlights the range of community-facing programs that Active Living delivers throughout the year. Each year, these initiatives reinforces our commitment to making recreation and fitness accessible to everyone across Ajax. Memberships. At the heart of everything we do is our membership base. We currently have 3,100 active memberships, and the shift to 1 month membership terms has been a game changer. It gives the residents the flexibility to try our facilities without a long-term commitment, and we're seeing that translate directly into stronger interest and overall revenue growth. The Fitness and Health Center membership remains the top choice, especially among students and teens, so there's a real opportunity there to build lifelong habits early. Our cardiac rehab program for 15 years, the cardiac walking program partnership with Scarborough Health Network continues, now offered 3 days a week between the Ajax and McLean community centers. This is a wonderful example of how recreation works with healthcare. We're providing a safe, supportive environment for residents recovering from cardiac events to rebuild their fitness under medically guided supervision. It's low cost, high impact, and a program that provides close to home access for our Ajax residents. June is Recreation Parks Month. Every June, we roll out free programming and participate in the Durham Region Passport Initiative to celebrate Recreation and Parks Month. This is our chance to open our doors wide and invite residents who may not have tried our services before to come experience what we have to offer. It generates great buzz in the community and encourages residents to try something new and who may end up becoming members down the road. Also taking place in June is our free outdoor fitness sessions, including Zumba at Pat Bailey Square and Yoga by the Lake. Our first Zumba event held on June 5th had 118 participants dancing their way to a great workout. Our next event is yoga on June 18th. These programs bring fitness directly into the community in a fun and accessible way. They attract residents of all ages and fitness levels, and there's no membership required. It's about meeting people where they are and showing them how fun being active is. From July 2nd through September 6th, residents aged 13 to 17 years get free access to our fitness centers. This is the third year offering the program, with 152 teens activating a membership in 2024. This opportunity assists to give young people keep young people active during the summer months, giving them a safe and positive environment, and introduces them to fitness routines they can carry into adulthood. We pair this offering with our Durham Region Grade 5 Action Pass, now in its 19th season, that runs in line with the school year and encourages Grade 5 students and gets them comfortable in our spaces earlier for lifelong health benefits. Beyond our regular fitness programming, we participate in community events such as Trail Fest, where we provide fitness warm-ups and educational tables to promote active living. We are proud to maintain additional partnerships with Community Living Ajax Pickering Whitby for membership access and interactive space, the Durham District School Board Ajax High School Squash Program, and the recently added Smart Living series with the ARC Library branch. These events and partnerships help us reach demographics we might not connect with through traditional gym memberships alone, adding to a more active Ajax. Our snowshoe loan program completed its 10th season and is a great example of removing barriers to outdoor recreation during the winter months. Residents can borrow snowshoes at no cost, which encourages families and individuals to get outside and stay active, even when the weather might otherwise keep them indoors. It's a small investment that pays off in community engagement and reinforces our year-round active living mandate. In addition to the public-facing initiatives, we are proud to be part of the town's staff wellness committee to assist in supporting a healthy workplace, including nutrition lunch and learns, walking challenges, yoga sessions, and an annual wellness fair. Taken together, these programs demonstrate the range and depth of what active living brings to the community. We're not just running fitness centers, we're building a culture of active living that reaches residents at every age, every fitness level, and every season of the year. Looking ahead, active living is focused on 4 priorities. Number 1 is strengthening retention. As members move to the flexible 1-month terms, it is imperative We welcome and support these new members and provide a foundation to continue their fitness journey for years ahead with us. Second, exploring the integration of fitness technology and self-tracking devices to enrich the member experience, such as data-driven coaching using sleep, recovery, activity volume, and heart rate for optimizing exercise prescription. Third, aligning our program and education with emerging health trends, including the growing role of strength training alongside GLP-1 medications, and while advocating exercise as a preventative healthcare need. Lastly, but not any less important, building on our community momentum, maintaining and creating partnerships to expand access and offerings to all residents. Together, these priorities position us to sustain our recent growth and continue delivering strong value to residents. Last slide got there. Thank you, Chair and members of Council and staff, for your time and continued support of Active Living.
Thank you so much for that presentation, and always happy to support Active Living. First, we have Councillor Tyler Morin. Questions of the presentation.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Mr. Smith, Kevin, for your presentation. Glad to hear that revenues are up among users. So it's about $1 million, pushing almost $1 million in revenue. So how does that work in regards to cost recovery? So if a person is paying X number of dollars, how much does it cost? Is there a percentage within the report that you can share with the public that states that? Do you understand my question, or did I state it properly?
Okay, I'm sorry, I wasn't sure my mic was on. Sorry, through the chair to Councillor Tyler Moore. Great question. In fact, maybe a decade or two ago, we worked through that with a consultant in terms of trying to determine what the cost per member was, taking into consideration electricity,
right.
All the infrastructure of the building, amongst staff, the cost of the pool, because memberships include pool. We kind of got somewhere, but not really. So in terms of a high level comparison, I don't have an exact number for you, but happy to get it. And if you're looking for in terms of offsets of staffing, just like the tangible, like high level costs in terms of staff, that would include also getting facility staff, the customer service staff.
Okay.
Look at if that's
quick follow up. So you're saying, but you can confirm that revenues don't cover the full cost of what it is to have somebody as part of the gym.
Our goal in terms of our registered programs that we do offer through Group Fitness and the Fitness Health Center are cost recovery full. We look for ideally about a 20% operating surplus out of those, and those include yoga, Pilates programs
really?
in our membership. Sorry.
So just so I'm clear, you're saying that there's actually revenue if somebody signs up for Pilates or for yoga or joins the gym, and with the revenues that we're taking in, there's actually a surplus?
I don't know if a surplus is but we look for to definitely cover cost. Usually there is an additional amount that's there in terms of revenue. That's just we just don't look to strive. If a determining factor is if a program is going to run or not, if we're covering staff costs, we will continue. If there's not even $1 more in terms of what we would classify as operating surplus. But we wouldn't run the program if we were $1 less necessarily in terms of covering staff costs.
Okay, good to hear. I didn't know that was the situation, actually.
If I can jump in and through the chair to Councillor Tyler Morin, what Mr. Smith is referring to there, and for any of our registered programs, be that fitness, aquatics, sport, any registered programs, we always operate those programs on a cost recovery basis. So if the program isn't earning the revenue to pay for the cost of the instructors, the materials, the supplies to put on that program, the program would not run. So, and that's the same for any of the registered programs within Kevin's Active Living section as well.
Is that including the pool and swimming lessons and all that?
Yeah, for any of our registered programs, including aquatic swimming lessons, yes.
Okay, excellent. Good to hear. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. So as an active member of the Ajax Active Living community, I have a few questions. First question is, have we ever considered comping our trainers if they sign up members to a full year membership? And it doesn't have to be like a huge amount, but even like a $5 or $10 bonus, so to speak, anytime they sign up a member might encourage our trainers to become more sales advocates thereby generating more revenue for us. Have we ever considered that?
Through chair to chair, no, we haven't. I'm not aware of any municipalities that do offer an incentivized type program like that. Something we can explore for sure. If that's going to drive increased sales, something that would be of value to consider. But yeah.
Even if, for example, like someone upgrades from an ARC pass to a full community pass, then like, you know, they get like $3. I don't know. I just think there's an opportunity where the municipality can see more annual memberships, because that's where we make most of our bread and butter. But at the same time, these part-timers, majority part-timers, can also see like an extra bump and see, kind of be motivated to kind of help us in this endeavor. My next question is, are we satisfied with the tiers of pricing right now? So I know there's, you know, monthly pass, annual pass, ARC has its own ARC only pass. Are we missing are there any gaps in terms of our membership opportunities where we've gotten feedback saying, oh yeah, you know, I'd sign up, but I wish I could only sign up for swimming, or whatever it is? Like, are we ultimately satisfied that we've kind of captured all the different slots, so to speak, of memberships?
Through the chair, yes, I think from January 2024, we have implemented the 1 month, and having that flexibility and the subsequent uptake over the past 2 years, going on 2.5 years now, it's been probably exceeded our expectations. So it really gives that flexibility. We're seeing a drive to that. It is a great vehicle to get people in the door, though, and then work on that kind of retention piece, as you alluded to earlier, move over to the annual membership piece. So when they go to renew their membership, there's an incentive there for them to move towards an annual membership. That gives them a little bit extra time. So there's that extra bonus there.
And last question, and this is a very selfish one. Any talk of putting a clock with a second hand at the McLean Gym?
Definitely can look into that for you.
All right, that's all I ask. Appreciate it.
Do you use the one, or have you seen the one at Core Performance Zone? Does that work?
The Core Performance Zone? No, not the small ones, but just like the central clock with the second hand. It just helps when, you know, taking my long breaks between sets. But again, that's a very selfish ask. I will. We have a report to receive for information on the table. Can I get a mover for that, please, from council? I see Councilor Bauer. Thank you. Any more questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we will start the vote to receive for information. Great, that passes. Now we're on to the last presentation before close, 6.3, RCS 2026-03, the Digital Recreation Guide. I believe this goes to Louise Soulier, Manager of Customer Service Administration.
Good afternoon, Chair, Mayor Collier, and members of council. I'd also like to introduce my colleague, Michelle Gillis, who was the project manager for this initiative from IT. So we're here today to present to you about the Digital Recreation Guide. So this is the town's new customizable and personalized program guide. Sorry, there's a little lag with the presentations, my apology. I'm just going to keep going. So as most of you will know, this replaces the printed guide, which we haven't produced since the spring of 2020 because of the pandemic. Obviously, everything stopped. But
Louise, sorry, I'm going to pause you right there. I don't think we've actually loaded the presentation yet. It just says waiting for a sharing source. I think you actually have to select the screen.
Do you want to go down here? Try.
Yes, there will be a lag, so we anticipate that, but I still want to make sure we see the presentation.
Do you see the presentation now at all?
Still do not know.
There, now it came. Okay.
So we can see the PowerPoint screen now, Louise, if you want to share. There we go.
Yes.
Good to go.
Thanks so much. So as I was saying, as most of you know, that we replaced this is to replace the printed guide, which we haven't done since the spring of 2020. But one thing that we had was we still had customers and residents coming to the counter asking for something so that they could sort of go through and look for different program activities. So what we did was we worked with IT, and we've created a digital guide. So being able to use the technology, and this is going to replace the printed guide. So the bonus of this is that when it's the printed guide, if the program is any sort of changes or it cancels, any of the programs are canceled, then the guide sort of, is not up to date. So this provides a real-time sort of personal and interactive way to browse through our programs, check availabilities, and you can actually connect to registration. So again, it's just customized access. It produces near real-time updates and enhancements without the need to fully republications. And again, you'll see when we're going to do the demo that it's sort of step by step. You can pick your activity, your location, your age group, your dates. It also has mapping. It connects directly to ActiveNet, which is our registration system. It's mobile responsive, and there's kiosk capability as well.
Perfect. And so we've delivered this completely in-house. There's no external vendor. So we have the skill set in IT to create this. That allows us faster enhancements and ongoing support as we work on it, and allows us actually to build on that for other potential solutions in the future. We're hoping to have a reduction in program-related inquiries and faster program discoveries. This is meeting our strategic IT plan and the lean goals by enhancing our digital customer service. They can interact with computers, tablets, smartphones. We're leveraging the technology to become a really data-driven organization, reducing waste, as Louise mentioned. We aren't printing the guide except for the 55 plus, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely reduces a lot of the printing and publication costs. And it's really streamlined for our customers. And we're able to provide faster real-time updates. So obviously when a paper document goes out, that's it. But in this case, we can be constantly pulling and refreshing information for all of the residents. So I'm going to go ahead and move over to the demonstration. So just bear with me here. Okay, I'm going to just change. Pardon me, I'm new at this one. Okay, it's, I guess this. Please let me know if you can see the web page.
Yes, we can see the web page.
Okay, perfect. So all of the residents will come to this digital recreation guide page, and it will allow them to go to the guide itself. But we do have a video here that explains it. It's very well done. It's quite succinct. So I'm going to go ahead and change it to full screen and go ahead and hit play.
From the video.
No? Sorry, let me try that again.
Michelle, the video was playing. Is there an error on your end?
Can you hear the sound?
No. Did you share the sound when you shared your screen?
I believe so. Let me just try that again. Let me stop and share the screen again. Just waiting for the pop-up to come up. Okay, perfect. There we go. And let me just restart the video. Apologize.
Looking for the perfect recreation programs to suit your family's interests? Me too. And I just discovered the Town of Ajax digital guide that should help me find exactly what I'm looking for to keep my 7-year-old and 13-year-old busy this season. Let's navigate the digital guide together to see if we can learn how it can help plan suitable activities for the whole family. To start, I'll navigate to ajax.ca/digital guide. Here, I'll find step-by-step instructions to help me get set up, along with the answers to frequently asked questions. Next, I'll click on the Continue to Digital Recreation Guide button to open the wizard and create my custom recreation guide. If registration's open, I can come back and click the Register on Active Ajax button once I've decided which programs I want to sign up for. If registration hasn't opened yet, I can add the programs to my wish list on Active Ajax. That way, I won't have to search for them on registration day. My 13-year-old is really into dance, and my 7-year-old likes all kinds of sports, so I'm going to make those selections from the program categories list and click Next. Our house is not far from Audley Recreation Center, so I'd really like to find something at that location if possible. I'm going to select ARC from the list of facilities and click Next. Now I'll select both children and youth from the age groups lists and click Next. I prefer to find something for them during a weeknight, so I'm going to select all the weekdays and enter a time range between 5 and 8 p.m. in the day and time section. Then I'll select View Search Results. Now I get a list of programs that match my criteria. The key is to filter my search as much as possible. Instead of clicking all on every page, I want to ensure I'm clicking on specific activities, categories, and age groups I'm interested in. This is so I don't end up with an overwhelming list of programs. If I still want to filter my list further, I just go to the drop-down menu, select sports, and it would remove the dance programs from my list. I can get more targeted with my filtering by separating the specific activities I want listed with commas in the Search Activities field. I can also click the previous button to go back and make adjustments to my search if needed. It's important to note that the results that are showing are only a snapshot of what's available at the time the search is made. This can change quickly as more people register. I can see if a program in my list is already full or click Program Details to go to the Active Ajax website to learn more about that specific program. Once I'm happy with how my results are filtered, I click Download PDF. My customized recreation guide will appear with all the programs that fit my criteria. I can email a copy by clicking the Email PDF button and entering an email address. I can send it to multiple email addresses by separating each one with a comma. I can also save it to my device using the Download button, print a copy by clicking Print, or click New to start a new search. My customized guide even includes direct links to Active Ajax where I can add selected programs to my wish list for when it's time to register. Registration dates appear on the top of the second page of my customized guide in the General Information section. All Town of Ajax Community Recreation Centers are equipped to email me a digital copy of my custom recreation guide or print a hard copy if necessary. The Digital Recreation Guide. Smart, simple, and made just for you. Discover the recreation opportunities available to you in Ajax.
Perfect. So thank you so much for watching the demo. Apologies that we couldn't get the sound working at first. And we're wondering if anybody has any questions.
Thanks for that presentation. Opening up to committee, any questions? Seeing none, I believe there is a report attached to this. I have to move receive for information, clerk. Sorry. Yeah. Can I get someone to move to receive for information presentation? Regional Councilor Crawford, thank you. Any more questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we will start the vote to receive for information. Great. And that passes. Can I get, we're now dealing with the closed session item. I have to say the reasons we're going to closed session, which are in the main. Sorry, this one's on me. Nope, I will find it. Actually, clerk, why don't you let us know why we're not going to closed session?
So through you, Mr. Chair, we'll be going to closed session today for item 7.1, letter of agreement with Ashley Manor Housing Corporation. This is to discuss proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, which is under section 239(2)(c) of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended.
Great. Can I get someone to move to go into closed session, please? I see Councillor Tyler Morin. Thank you. Start the vote to go into closed session. Councillor Henry, Mayor Collier to go into close. Councillor Dies go into close. Perfect. Nope. It's good. We know you meant that. Okay, that passes, and we are now in closed session. We're going to give staff a few minutes to kick people out. Okay, thank you. We are now back into open session, and we have the following direction. This is moved by Mayor Collier. Mayor Collier, you still good to move this?
Good to move.
Thank you. I'll read it out loud. Number 1, the council direct the mayor and clerk to execute a non-binding letter of intent with Ashley Manor Housing Corporation to advance an affordable housing development on a portion of town-owned lands as outlined in attachment 1. 2, staff be directed to report back to council with a conditional agreement of purchase and sale for approval prior to any conveyance of land. And 3, that the mayor be requested to send a letter to the members of the board of Ashley Manor Housing Corporation expressing the town's position that any development should be for senior housing. Mayor Collier, any further context to provide? Any comments?
Just, I think this is a really worthwhile project. I'm happy to see it come forward, and absolutely going to support it. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Any members, any further members of the committee wish to comment on this? Seeing none, we'll start the vote. Just waiting for Regional Councillor Crawford. Regional Councillor Crawford for a second time. Regional Councillor Crawford for a third time. Okay. And that passes. And I believe the last order today is adjournment. Can I get a mover for adjournment? I see Councillor Bauer, who's been quick on the draw the entire day. Any questions, comments, concerns on adjournment? Seeing none, we'll start the vote. I voted no. I'm having a good time here. That passes. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. We'll see everyone tomorrow at the special council meeting.